Hey, how is everyone doing today? How is your holiday season? And how's the new year treating you so far? I know it's only like 5 days in or whatever, but sometimes you just got a knack for knowing how the year's gonna be based off of just a couple days. Geez, I'm looking forward to listening to some great music today, though. I saw some interesting requests for this month already. And today I think we're having a pretty wild set already. I think this month just as a whole, people have picked some bonkers ideas. You aren't likely to get scathing responses from this community. That is true. That is true. And I'm glad to have you, Charm Tiger. This is your first one. And I remember looking at your request and kind of being intrigued by it. So, yeah, I'm excited. Have you got hair extensions in? No. No, dude, this is just my hair. Oh man, that's I'm gonna take that as a positive though. Take it as a compliment that my hair is growing so quickly that it looks like it's too long. Although I guess I haven't worn my hair down in a while either. I mean, geez, even when we stopped doing reactions was the third week of December, it was still like 80 degrees in Florida, so it was still hot, but it's a nice 43-ish this morning. Probably, man, maybe 50 by now. But anyways, it's cool enough to keep my hair down. It grew so quickly. Yeah. Yeah, my hair's always grown quick though. What is this? What is it, 2 years ago? 3 years ago when I shaved my head? So, I mean, I guess that's pretty quick, yeah. Morning, Johnny. Happy New Year to Ramono. Leon's dropping the hello there. I'm waiting for Evil to come in with the General Kenobi. Although, maybe Evil won't be here today. I'm trying to remember. I know people are on all sorts of holidays still, so I don't expect this to be a very big stream. We're only at 13 viewers right now, but we did technically just start. I jumped the gun by a couple of minutes. We got Azathoth in here calling, not first, but Fred Durst. Mark's here. Inky. Awesome. No live stream ping. I wonder why. Um, yeah, I released the Patreon one. Pretty sure the Discord event and new video went out, and Twitch should send their own notifications. Huh. Oh, that was okay. That is my fault. Let me fix that real quick. I put the post up, but I forgot to ping live stream in it. So I'll do that just in case anybody else didn't see that. All right, that looks like it's in order now. We have a few songs today that are in the 5 to 7 minute range. I'm kind of figuring we're going to go over a little bit on it. But we do have a 2 minute song to balance things out. But pretty much everything is in the back half of length today. So I don't know if you're comfortable, just stick around. We're probably going to do this for about 2.5 hours, is what I wager. Unless I just don't get distracted or pulled off onto any tangents, I suppose. That tends to keep things on track time wise. All right. We're going to kick this off with some Jamie XX, which I don't know if that's the way you're supposed to pronounce that, but that's how I'm pronouncing it. Well, that's not right, is it? Let's see. Yeah, everything is ahead by one. How did I do that? New year, no distractions. Yeah, that's not gonna happen. That's a fun thought, though. Oh, I must have hit tab somewhere. All right, let me get this corrected real quick. I mean, I guess it's great that I started off a little early. I can find these things out ahead of time, which means that the everything else is probably off too. Yep. Da, 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 All right, that one's fixed. That one's fixed. This one? Cool. That one's fixed. All right, I think we're good to go now. One of these days, I'm going to get all this working fantastic. Music time. Yeah, I think that's a great way to describe Sunday mornings. It is music time. No tangents, but the technical difficulties will pull us somewhere else. Yeah, exactly. Veiled Radiance. I like that name. Also, welcome and a hey right back at you. First stream of 2025. That it is. I'm excited about it. Like I said earlier, we've had a couple new people come in. This month's request for streams is wild. There's so many artists that I'm either not familiar with or I know enough about that I'm intrigued about it, or the description of the song, the context for it has me intrigued. I don't know. I'm stoked for so many songs this month. And that doesn't always happen. Usually I'm like, oh, okay, we got this death metal, we got some black metal. Oh, that sounds interesting. Then we got some more metal. Not to say I don't like metal, it's just I get a lot of it. I get very used to metal. It becomes very samey for the job. We're getting rid of this holiday nonsense and back to normality. Yeah, dude, the lineup for this month is just bonkers. It really is. I'm looking forward to so much of it. All right, so do we have context on this? I know we do. I just fixed it. PL Jogging, an uplifting piece of jungly electronica. Not sure what that equates to, but I'm ready to find out. Let's dive into this. Jamie XX's Gosh. Jamie is part of the XX solo project family? I don't know what that is. Oh, nice. The vacation to Mexico. That sounds fun.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Easy.
Yeah, this is the first song of the day.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh. Easy. Hold it down.
Oh, you're still on holiday. Very cool. Man, everybody traveling for the holidays. All I did was chill out around here.
Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh.
Was it Azzy who'd mentioned that this was a bass test for them? Because that sub bass is massive.
Oh gosh.
Hey, congrats!
Oh my gosh. Easy.
What public holiday is January 6th for you? Oh, doing a bit of traveling all over the US. So this is a good groove, good beats, good atmosphere. I'm still waiting for the thing to happen, but maybe it's not going to. Maybe the atmosphere, the aesthetic is just it. Leon, I'm right there with you. I just chilled. I relaxed. I de-stressed. I didn't go anywhere. I didn't do anything. I just existed. Yeah, inoffensive's a good word for this. I do like this new synth that came in. It provides some well-needed... What is that word? Treble to the whole song. Nice melody too. Always, yeah, to test that new bass. It's so good when it's blowing your eardrums out. I'll take your word for it. Well, holidays January 6th for you could have been some hilariously spicy answers. I didn't even think about that. Good call. I like that buzzing too. I bet that would be great at high volumes. Yeah, I mean, we're pretty far into this track. I'm kind of expecting this to just be the thing too. You know what's interesting though? It felt very chill to start with. But there's something awesome about it now. Not so much anymore. It's bringing the scope back down. All right, yeah. I dug that. It's a great way to start this day. Very chill, just great mood, great atmosphere. Nothing that's too difficult to listen to. It's very direct. It gets to what it wants to do and finishes it up. And it actually does what I think is, it accomplishes honing in on a single idea without it ever really becoming boring. It's always rebuilding itself, reimagining, recontextualizing what it's trying to do. And like I said, there's even a part towards the end where I felt that it reached a very vast scope. It felt like it was reaching moments of awe before quickly reducing that scope back down to something a bit more singular and simple. Really just like synth vocals mixed in a beat. I do think that the vocals, I thought they were samples though. I didn't know that they were synth. I don't think that they added much for me. I feel like they set me up for a specific expectation at the beginning of a song that I was not really on board with, and I'm really glad that the song took a 180 turn for me, and I ended up enjoying the back half a lot more. And I do think a lot of that was those vocals at the beginning that just kind of felt out of place for me. I mean, my ear for electronic music isn't great either. It could have been samples, could have been synth. Regardless, I kind of agree there that they weren't quite working for me. Maybe if they were, I don't know, singing lyrics, putting poetry to it, although maybe that might have detracted a little bit from what the music was doing. But I might have engaged with that a little bit better rather than just what seemed to me as random syllables being thrown out. Felt a bit like public service broadcast. Oh, I was thinking of like a public service music, like what you would hear on a public television channel or something. Not a not a very specific work of art. Whilst I like this at face value, I'm curious what made the recommendation. It was good, but found it quite basic. I think that's the point of it, actually. It's just a really chill song that works. It captures most people's attention, at least for a little bit. I think you'd be really hard pressed to find someone who dislikes this in its entirety. Vocal chops, samples taken and messed with on various. Okay, yeah. I didn't know that specific phrase, but that makes sense. Yeah, I don't have much to say about it critically. I like the vibe, I like where it went, and I didn't feel like it overstayed its oh, chopped okay, that makes sense. The first time you said vocal chops, I was thinking of like skills. And I was like, okay, so it's just kind of chopped up. But yeah, chopped up vocals. All right, so Greed's got us working on the next one. I'm ready to jump into that. We got Kaizers Orchestra with, I'm not pronouncing that correctly, so I'm just gonna leave it be today. I'm not gonna attempt it. Flawless but somewhat meh. Yeah, I could see that. It's a very middle of the line song right there. I think you can connect with it. I think it does have emotional resonance to it, but I think most people are just going to hear a song. It's funnier if you try. Ah, jeez. Hjerteknuser? I assume the K is silent. Otherwise, that KN sounds just going to get strange. Hjerteknuser. The song name means heartbreaker. Okay. Okay. A bit of context on this one on top of the no context here. So Greed gave us the context in chat. It's a song everyone in Norway knows. It means heartbreak or heartbreaker. Kaizer's genre would be somewhere between alt rock, gypsy rock, and folk. All right. You imagine the H and J is silent, but I'm probably wrong. See, I made the H a bit silent. I still had a little bit of an airiness at the beginning. But I don't expect the J to be silent. But I don't know what language it is. My first guess is German? And if it is German, I do not understand how that language works most of the time. That's definitely one that I need to hear a pronunciation of. I can't just read it and be like, oh, okay, I'm close on this. Oh, Norwegian, duh. Greed literally just said that. Oh, jeez. Sometimes the old brain don't work too well. Yeah, everyone in Norway knows it. Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is a German band. Only me, right? Oh, man. So yeah, Norway though, I have very little exposure to Norwegian pronunciation. I'm definitely not getting that right on a first try. Oh, so the K and the N would both be pronounced? Yeah, I'm not trying that. I went over in my head a couple of times. I'm like, that's gonna be rough on the old vocal muscles. Let's dive into this one though, see what's going on with Kaizers Orchestra. Oh, very cool. Creature Commandos is on my watch list. I love the feeling of the three. It's very brisk and sharp. Oh, I'm sure I've heard Norwegian in songs. I'm just never really paid attention to the pronunciation with like the words to absorb how that all works together. Dude, that E throws me every time. I like the guitars here. Yeah, the guitars plus the violin working underneath that vocal melody. That is good. Good call, Johnny.
Kanskje du ikke finnes lenger, kanskje det er håp. Kanskje du ikke tenker på meg heller. Men jeg venter på den dagen at vi er ute og går. Du bøyer deg ned, og jeg står på tå. Lurer på om du finnes der ute nå. Send deg mine tanker, kjenner du de da? Send meg et
Oh, that's an interesting tidbit about this track.
Jeg vanner mine tanker.
Is that sound? There's like a 16th note thing, or maybe it's vibrato. I don't know. It almost sounds like he's singing while trilling his tongue on a really low tone. I don't know. Interesting though. Interesting idea there with that instrument at the end. I wish I knew what it was. But anyways, I love this track. Very folk rock with a little bit of classical influence to it. We got the wonderful string and guitar work underneath the vocals that I talked about in the chorus. I just love the way that all those sections work together rhythmically and melodically and harmonically. It's just a warm part of the song. I love the crispness to that 3/4 pulse that we have in the verse. That boom, 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 boom. Just those really articulate stops on each of those beats. It creates something that feels very brisk, very light on its feet, very dexterous. And it's just great growth and pacing on the song. We have nice rising energy, adding more layers, bringing it back down, as Johnny pointed out, with just that piano part and the vocals for that second verse. It's just... yeah, everything about this song is just, at least to me, it feels very fun. I only picked up a few of the lyrics. I don't know what the tone of the song was. I don't know what kind of emotion they're going for, but what I get out of the music is very light and fun and beautiful and vibrant. And it's a gorgeous track to listen to. I really enjoyed every moment. The vocals all sound great. I love the expanded instrumentation. I think we had a glockenspiel in there as well. I love rock or metal or really anything with expanded instrumentation. And this has that in spades. I caught that too, Ramono. I thought that was pretty neat. But I didn't want to crack a joke in the middle of that because I was really enjoying the music. I wanted to stick with some more of the analytical stuff. But I heard that too. I was thinking about the whole dialect conversation. And I was like, do we have that in the US at all? Could I say that there's any songs that feel more Floridian than New York or something like that? I don't really think so. I think the closest we get is like southern drawls and country music, but those all sort of feel homogenized too. It's not like we have different regional drawls. So I don't know. Language? I mean, that would be like the dialect would be language too, I think, but we don't really, I mean, yeah, I don't really think there's not an analogy to the US, I think. Appalachian songs? Boston and New York would like a word. Yeah, but have you ever heard a song that was just very Boston-y? Right? Boston. Oh, you have? See, I haven't. And I think if I heard one, I'd be like, wow, but see, I wouldn't really think of it too much of dialect. I would think it's like, dude, that dude's accent really comes through his singing. That's kind of how I would envision that. But I suppose it's sort of on the same lines. It's pronounced Leicester. That does not look like Leicester at all. The way Peter Griffin sings. Yeah, I can kind of hear that. But like in the world of music, outside of like character musicals and episodes, I suppose. Like just a pop song that's gonna hit the charts. Can I really call any of those distinct? I don't know. I would not understand a word if someone from northern Germany started speaking their dialect. And see, I think that's an important part too. I don't think there's any pop, rock, metal song that's come out in from America that I would listen to and think I can't understand them because of how they're singing the words or maybe even their choice of words. Because America certainly has accents all across, but I don't really think it comes through in music that much in singing. At least not in my experience. Maybe I just don't pay attention enough to words in music to notice it. But I always find it interesting when we hear about context for these other languages other than English. And, people are talking about, oh, this is this specific dialect or regional set of lyrics. I don't really have that analogy in my experience. It's one of those things that feels, I suppose, musically foreign to me. America's mostly like that because it's such a young language. And see, that makes sense too. I mean, I suppose British English would be a dialect in a sorts of American English that I would get some of, but not all of all the time. But that didn't really come over to. It didn't stick in America, I suppose. It did come over to America at one time, huh? Usually it's one or two words at most. Can't Hold Us by Macklemore was notorious for people not knowing if the first word in the chorus was can or hear. Interesting. So what is it? Uh, Now I'm kind of interested in that track. I'm gonna have to listen to that. Because I don't understand the context. But I do find that interesting. Because usually when it comes to misheard lyrics, I think it's more of slurring things together. Sometimes less information in the recording, especially with older songs that were recorded on older, less perfect mediums than digital. You should try to understand the Welsh accent. Ah, that sounds fun. It was on the radio 24/7 in 2013. 2013. Oh, I was 7 years out. I was not listening to the radio. Maybe I heard it someplace, but yeah, not on my car though. In my car. Look at the Welsh city names in Google Maps. I'm gonna have to do that later. Where's my marker? Now I'm curious. I got a live stream to-do list now. I gotta look up this Macklemore song. What was it called? Can't Hold Us. And look up Welsh city names. I've only been back for half an hour. Y'all already giving me homework. How do you... Lanfair... How do you pronounce that? PG is not a word. Alright, we gotta get this back on track. Knew it was gonna happen. We got Oh Brother, Lay Down. Comes from Nico. I'm pretty sure the Oh Brother tracks you've checked out on the channel so far have all been from their 4th and 5th albums. All their albums are great, but I think their 2nd, 3rd releases are my favorites. This song is from their 2nd album. The track before this one has a slow build-up at the end that leads into this song, which makes it all the more powerful on a full album listen. Alright, cool. Digging it. We managed various Welsh websites and had to change the design so the words fit. Oh, that's a short version for place. Interesting. Does that work with Welsh spelling of their word for place? Because in English, the G comes out of nowhere. Oh, you had a gig there. That's how you know about it. Okay. Alright, let's dive into some Oh Brother. Y'all can keep talking about Welsh if you like. We gotta get some music rolling though. Okay, so that's where the build-up comes in. That's how it starts, why it starts abruptly. I'm digging the artwork on this too. That's the full name. That is a mouthful. Kind of moody. Reminds me of Radiohead to kick it off. Or Muse, maybe. Really great use of the vocals on the sides to support the main one. Another really nice 3-pulse here. Okay. Another ridiculously bassy track. All over the place. I love the massiveness of the guitar tone, just allowing that to ring out while this higher pitched melody. Oh, geez, and the bells. The audible bass. It's more than audible. If I can hear it, it's pretty loud. I know they technically are. I think I removed the Harmon Curve EQ I had on them. I need to put that back on. Great place to put some tremolo. Yeah, I find tremolo to be, it's something that can be overdone really easy because it is, pushed to an extreme. And that was it was a great moment to really expand that energy. Because where else do you go with that? I think it's kind of tough to raise the intensity of where they were at already, and so you got to put something pretty extreme on there, and that's where the tremolo picking comes in. Yeah, the song was only like 2 minutes in, and I already pulled that link down. I'm gonna have to check out more of them. I'm pretty sure Oh Brother's already on my list as it is, but that cements it. I think that is the best song I've heard from them. And like I mentioned, there's already a bunch of stuff that I've enjoyed so far. Oh. I was like, wait, they're not in my list. That's because only the first half of my list is alphabetical. But they're not my list. Why not? I'm just going to assume that was an accident. My list is 287 bands long right now of stuff that I've enjoyed from live streams and from the channel that I've wanted to dig into more on my own, so it's possible some stuff slips through the cracks. You could fix that with GPT. I try my best to use AI stuff as little as I can. I will put in 5 times the amount of work to avoid using an LLM. I'm not a fan of it. You said what I said you said what I was typing sections before I sent it. Sorry, you could still send it. Some grunge vibes dragged into modern styling. Yeah, that was just everything about it was great. The growth, the movement, the pacing of it all, even the idea that they started with something heavily atmospheric and shifted into more riff-based and melody-based writing. I mean, that all, everything about that song was just fantastic. Um, Even the production I thought was awesome. I really can't think of a single bad thing to say about that song, other than the fact it felt short. I mean, it's 5.5 minutes. It's not a long song. It's not a short song either. Favorite track from a live stream in at least a year. Wow, that's a big statement right there. But yeah, it's a shame they only have 4 albums though. 20, oh, Triple Crown Records, that makes sense. There's very little things that I don't enjoy from Triple Crown. They definitely curate artists that connect with me. Excluding mine. Yeah, that makes sense. That makes sense. The drumming was great, the guitar work was great, the layering, they brought in extra instrumentation, the lightness, the levity versus the weight, and the overall, I mean, it's just, is great. Diversity with cohesion, 100%. It all works together. Why do I see five? Five what? What do we have 5 of? Oh, yeah. You can use channel points to make your chat look cool, like Veiled Radiance did. It's not going to show up over here yet. I think I can change that. And I was actually looking at a different program that integrated with Twitch a little bit better than this does. All this does is read websites. It looks for new text that comes in, and then it just copy pastes that text into its own window. It's very simple. It works wonders. I can get text from pretty much anywhere, which is how I can incorporate Discord and YouTube and Twitch all together. But it doesn't actually talk to any of these websites. But this other one that I found, I think does, and it could see, oh, this is, this is one that has been highlighted. So let me make mine highlighted too. So I'm thinking in the future I'll be able to make this pretty as well. What I like most is that nothing in it didn't make sense. Yeah, exactly. Totally cohesive. Well, there wasn't vocal harmony, but there was really great use of vocal layers. We had the whisper at the beginning that I think helped widen out that initial vocal part, which was cool because the music was still kind of narrow, so it allowed it to sort of have this foreshadowing that the song was going to get pretty large. Do GIFs work now? GIFs should work, yes. I don't know if they're big yet. I think I turned that on, but I don't know if it works or not. We'll find out. There you go. It's animated here. It's not animated in my Twitch chat, though. That's interesting. I wonder if that's because I'm not in the live Twitch chat, and I'm in the chat within my manager. Me when black metal. And that one must have come from well, it started to move. Why doesn't it move? Does it? Oh, it doesn't loop, does it? It does one cycle. Dang, that's a shame. I'll have to look into that and see if I can get GIFs to auto loop. Well, he danced one time anyways. We had a... And now he's forever frozen, unable to continue his dance. The sad duck. I think it's a duck. Alright, yeah, that was just awesome. I gotta listen to more Oh Brother, I guess. I find songs with specified featured artists usually don't land with me. Interesting. Although now that you mention it, I think I'm kind of 50-50 on it. And I think a lot of it comes down to almost a commercialized element to it. At least in the alt metalcore area, which I think is where I'm most familiar with it. But it's an idea, it's the concept of bringing in a new audience from an established band because everyone knows the singer. So what if you heard them in this band? And so there's almost a hyper focus on impressing people with features. And at least I don't get the idea that the songs were built with the feature in mind, if that makes sense. At least I don't get that impression very often. And it kind of reminds me of stuff like what's his face from 13 Stones on Evanescence's Wake Me Up, where it wasn't an artist decision, it was a corporate decision to have the feature. And I kind of get that feeling more often than not when I listen to music with featured artists. Your stream chat doesn't show replies, only the message itself. Yeah, like I said, it doesn't hook in. It doesn't know that you sent a reply. It just sees that this new text popped up, so it copies it over. Yeah, the replies should show in Twitch, but they don't show over there. But at least that's my feeling on featured artists. There are certainly songs where the feature makes a lot of sense, and it feels like the song was built to have that other vocal, that specific timbre in there. And usually there's more playfulness between all the members rather than just having, oh, this vocalist comes in for the second verse and you never hear him again. Those tend to feel a bit more corporate to me. I like when there's more intermingling, when it makes more sense to have them. When it feels like it was a cooperative effort rather than we made this song, we just left this area blank for someone to come in and sing over. Jonas and the Ocean. Where's Jonas from? I recognize the name. Although I'm probably pronouncing that with a very American accent. I don't think he's American. Probably more of a Jonas. But anyways, I can't place what band he's from. All right. Next up, we got something that I've been interested in, particularly because it's The Matrix. The Jonas Brothers. That's not the answer I wanted to hear. Catatonia, yep, that's it. I don't know why it took me so long to, well, actually, I still didn't come up with it. That is something that I miss about YouTube, though, is I think on YouTube we had a 5-second latency between me saying something and y'all seeing it on stream. And I think Twitch's lowest is 30 seconds. And it makes conversation a bit more disconnected. At least I feel that way. It used to be that I would see comments about a section of a song and I was like, oh, I just listened to that. But here, y'all were talking about the drop in that Oh Brother track. And I'm like, dang, that was like 40 seconds ago for me. That was a whole section away. And unfortunately, there's just nothing I can do about that. Isn't one of the dudes from Weezer named Jonas? I don't know. Oh, Daniel Tompkins. I bet he'd be good anywhere. Even if it is a bit more of a corporate feature. He just has a great voice. Yeah. The latency is just, it's terrible. I really wish Twitch would come up into modern times. They don't allow over 1080p, I don't think. They don't allow high bit rate. They don't use AV1, I don't think yet, which is a video codec. The latency, they don't have ultra low latency like Mixer or Twitch, Mixer or YouTube or anybody else has. It feels like they're the top because they're the most popular, not because they have the best platform. They were there first, so there's always that. But it's like Spotify, where like they have the most users, but they're just not keeping up with every other platform. But they still have the most users. They don't stream ban though. That's exactly why I'm here. I feel held captive, just like Spotify having the API. I don't like using Spotify. I prefer Apple Music in pretty much every way, except I can't do the cool graphics in the corner with Apple Music, so I use Spotify. And I feel trapped because of this single feature that I need from these platforms. Twitch also isn't profitable. Neither is YouTube though, so there are numerous streamers I watch that are way faster than YouTube has ever been. Interesting. I wonder if maybe that's... I'm going to have to look that up. I'm going to make a note. I'm pretty sure I set the latency to the lowest I had available, but I'm not a partner. And maybe partners get some sort of ultra low latency that every other platform gives away for free. But I'll look into it. I don't think I checked since I became affiliate though, so maybe that does it. Yeah, 30 seconds. For Matrix fans that haven't seen the animated, the Animatrix, I recommend it. Great overall soundtrack too, though this is Junkie XL's only tune on it. Yeah, let's get into this. Guess we gotta make you partner. I don't know what's required for that. I'm pretty sure it is a lot of followers, a lot of views, a lot of streaming, I suppose. Message showed up about 10 this time. Oh, that's not too bad. Maybe it's variable? That sounds weird. Also, the fact that you can't rewind live, I thought that was always a real cool thing about YouTube. This one you can only watch live. Averaging 5 and 15. See, that's weird. I wonder why there's any sort of deviation at all. Well, that's for another day, I suppose. We're going to check out some Junkie XL here. Beauty Never Fades, the Animatrix edit. This one comes from Tiger Charm. This is techno, or more specifically progressive breakbeat or electro dance. It's quite dark and psychedelic and features a lot of electronic layers plus some added guitar. Guest vocals are by Saffron, who is known for being the singer of the alternative rock band Republica. Junkie XL is Tom Holkenberg, a Dutch composer and musician. The Animatrix was an animated entry in the Matrix film series, though this song was only in the movie for 10 seconds. So I actually rewatched Animatrix, 2 years ago when Matrix 4 came out. I watched all 3 Matrix films, the Animatrix. I played Enter the Matrix and Path of Neo, and then I also watched some documentaries on the Matrix Online to kind of get caught up in the story that was in that. I just wanted to be prepared for the 4th Matrix film and went a bit overboard. But I'll tell you, rewatching Animatrix, it was okay. I don't think I would rewatch it again. I'd probably just stick with the live action films. It's good, it just doesn't have enough that makes me want to come back to it. But I'm interested about this song, specifically if I can pick it out, if I can remember it based off of a 10-second snippet in a film that I watched 2 years ago. There's a Matrix 4. Jason, I don't know if you're kidding or not. I know there's those jokes that there's only 3 Matrix films. There's only 3 Star Wars films. This is Tiger's first live stream suggestion. Yes, it is. Let's dive into this. He's done basically everything. I liked Matrix 4 too. Was it the other 3? No. Was it subversive? Yes, not always in a good way, but it was interesting to see how somebody could take something they created and were forced to make a sequel and decided to subvert what they created instead of add on to. I thought that was an interesting idea. Was it perfect? No. Are any of the Matrix film perfect? Maybe the first, but it's it's always been a series that I've enjoyed for its strengths, despite its flaws. And so the fourth one didn't really ring differently for me. Usually a metalhead, but wanted to fool you guys. Yeah, dude, I go in watching the fourth one with an open mind. That's all I can say. And also try to be observant of the meta contextual elements. On the surface, I don't think it is a great movie just to take on that first layer of literally what is happening. It's okay most of the time. It kind of falls apart a little bit towards the end, but I really like the meta contextual element to it and what it all means within the larger universe of our world and the Matrix as a franchise. Lord of the Rings 4? What is Lord of the Rings 4? The wink tells me he's joking, but there's been a lot of post Lord of the Rings stuff that's come out. So, I mean, Silmarillion could kind of be 4, even though it's a prequel. I don't know. Let's get into some of this. Music. That's what we're here for. Let's dive in. I've never seen Fury Road. I've never seen the original trilogy either. But I'm always down for a good OST too. I don't need to see the original media to listen to a good soundtrack. Alright, as usual, good mood, good atmosphere. But where's it going? Oh, while this is building, let me put a pin-up of the songs for today. Second Renaissance? Yeah, that's not ringing a bell for me, unfortunately. I like the textures in this. Oh, okay. Yeah, I like the bouncing around. Great for driving that energy forward. But I needed this.
Come to know a time when he will haunt you.
bringing this treble-based synth pad back in place of the vocals makes it feel larger. It's growth without really changing much. I like that.
Each step I take, the shadows grow longer. Padded footfalls in the dark, I wander. Come to steal your love, throw their way.
Hey, Synapse, glad to have you.
Looking for a beauty that never fades.
Like an echo back there. It just feels very cavernous.
See a glimpse inside the pool, it's hollow. Come to know a time when he will haunt you. Snapping at my heels made me late. Someone take me back to the angel realm today.
Is that it? Yep. For some reason, I felt like there was going to be more. I think it's because I lost track of just how long the intro was. And so we get into the first verse and then that intermediate section that brings that synth pad back in. We get into the second verse, and now I'm expecting the song to explode either with our first chorus or maybe a bridge, some sort of new section for the vocals. And it never, beauty never fades, but the song does. I didn't even notice it was on a fade out. I was just expecting the moment to come up, but it ends up being sort of like that Jamie XX track we saw, we listened to at the beginning of the day, where it's always just the thing. And I think I kind of lost track of that because of the intro, which took quite a bit of time from the full song. Yeah, it didn't feel resolute. It felt like it was ready to go somewhere. But I do enjoy the vibe that they have going here. I think that's the best part about it. The intro, I'm still kind of hit and miss on. There's some cool things in it. I really like the end, how we had that bouncing, sort of abrasive bassy sound that gave way for the vocals to come in that first time. There's a really nice transition there. But the opening just kind of felt like that. It was an opening. It was ready. It was space ready to be filled. And I think the song does that really well. It just never quite clicks for me in anything other than that moment where I'm waiting for the song to start. And I think it exists just a hair bit too long for that. But once the song kicks in, I quite enjoyed it. I think there's some nice textures in here. It's a nice beat and atmosphere. The vocals have a really cool chill element to them. I think that the vocals could have been delivered a bit more physically. I think having more body to them, more resonant, but it wouldn't have worked well with the atmosphere. I think having that sort of lightness and almost reverby airiness to them works well as a counter to the very physical bass work that's going on. Kind of trancey, yeah. Yeah. This is a soundtrack. I don't think so. It was on a soundtrack, but Charm Tiger had mentioned that only 10 seconds showed up in the actual film. So kind of makes me think like the whole song was not intended. Well, I guess it depends on how it came about. If it was commissioned for the soundtrack and they were expecting more of it to show up, that would make sense. But the song feels, to me at least, that it's not soundtracky enough, where it's not designed to be completely in the background at all times. So I enjoyed it though. And I think it's interesting that Mark had mentioned cyberpunk, because the Matrix is very cyberpunky in a way. Well, it's not like traditional cyberpunk though. What would you call Matrix? It's punk for sure. Post-apocalyptic though, less cyberpunk. Rock techno vibes. I can get behind that. Vex Red is a cool name too. I don't know what it means. It just kind of rolls off the tongue really well. So I can get behind that. All right. Keeping on the electronic vibes, I think we're going to be checking out an artist called Brakence, which I think we've had on the channel before. Oh, no, actually, Johnny and I went over this a couple weeks ago. I saw Brakence in Album Club. I didn't listen to it because I'm not part of the Album Club, but I did see it pop up as an album in there. And the name just stuck with me for some reason. It's always, every time I see that, I'm like, I've heard them before. I haven't. I've never listened to a song from them, I don't think. As I said, though, this one comes from Johnny. I could write several paragraphs about this song alone, but to spare you from that, I'll just say the album is a chronological documentation of Brakence having an introspective mental breakdown, interspersed with substance abuse, insecurity, relationships, and etc. The song is towards the end of the album where he is on the verge of all his self-designed outward pretenses and masks being stripped away. That's a description of a song right there. All right, Mark, have a good rest of your day. And Happy New Year to you. All right. Leon says they don't think they like this album. I think at one point I had mentioned I was going to. I haven't quite decided on it yet. I do want to check out more music. And I think Album Club would be a pretty cool way to do that. It's all about time, honestly. I think I was more bright-eyed last month or 2 months ago when I had mentioned that than I am right now after I, started typing up my album of the year stuff, and I realized that there's still 40 albums I didn't get to last year, and I didn't really listen to a lot of stuff that didn't come out last year either. There's just not enough time for all the music. So, I don't know. I'm still on the fence about it, I guess. For people who can't tolerate heavy production work, they disliked it. Oh, okay. Let's dive into it. See what's going on with deepfake. Random trumpet?
I don't know how much more I can say, 'cause I'm gonna need more than sunlight to getting in shape. Weed makes me panic and Lexapro drives me insane. Tell me, how do you do what you love when you're sick in the brain?
I do like how these are slightly out of sync with each other. Showcases that it was probably recorded twice and not just taking one idea and then pitch shifting it and copy pasting it.
I show my true colors, you left in my life got so gray. I can't get over you, yet I build up so much hate. But despite all the lies and projections, I hope you're okay. I'm not, I don't want to escape. I pop when my ego deflates. Staring me down, I surrender the sound just to find out that I was a fake. I just wanna escape. I pop when my ego deflates. Cause behind the smile I'm so pissed.
Okay.
But I won't be showing emotions. No, I'm not even telling my close friends. You can't fix me now, I'm too broken.
Why am I getting Calypso vibes?
In this way, think I'm always making a mistake.
Like, it's not quite as technical, but it's a lot of the same production techniques and the separation of pitch.
I'm lost, I can't find an escape. I pop my ego deflates while staring me down. I surrender.
Self-real hashtag.
Find out that I was a fake. I'm not, I just want an escape. I pop my ego deflates. It's staring me down. I surrender the sound just to find out that I was a fluke. I got a tab in my pocket. What I used to justify all the
I do like how there's very little tones in here that don't feel modulated at all. The piano in the background might be one of the only.
Yeah, you can tell it was a lie that you would've won. I'll play it out in my mind what I could have done.
Really heavy plosive there.
And if I ride when my time is up, I can't help but picture my life ending in a month. And baby, you can try to love me, but I'm not faced. I'm straight flush with poker on my face. Then I start to choke on my own brain. Now I'm hardly coping, I don't know how much more I can take. Cause my whole personality's fake. And I want someone else in my place that feels
Oh, I missed the
so much
clock.
better. I'll settle for now and endeavor to die or create.
Random trumpet back. That's a good way to describe it. Slow motion distortion. It's like being able to hear the peaks and valleys of a random mathy Midwest emo covet stuff. Okay. Oh yeah, that drum work. Dude, that metric modulation on the drums. And really stretching that out. It wasn't just, you know, like a 2-beat drum fill. It just like kept going on.
Bloom to death. 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 Too excited about dying and blooming.
Did that go into the next track then? Wow. All right. So a lot of the stuff I love about electronic music is present here, which makes sense because I feel like Johnny and I have very similar interests in electronic music. He was 20 when he made this. I wonder what is the correlation there. Even inside of metal, you'll find that some of the most interesting music from any era of metal came from young musicians. And yet, I have a hard time reconciling with that because usually with age comes wisdom. The more that you play an instrument, that you write music, that you sing or write lyrics, you should get better at them. What you do at the end of your career should easily eclipse what you do at the beginning. But for so many, it's what they're doing when they're young that defines genres. Why? Is it just a less of a reluctance to stick with what's normal? Is it a need to explore, to cement your stamp down, to put your footprint in the sand of time? That metaphor got away from me. I don't think that worked. But anyways, I think you get the idea here, right? How does this keep happening? It bewilders me and it kind of goes against what I expect to happen. Something about the vocals don't click with me. Almost like I'm a tough guy, but I want to sound vulnerable vibe. See, I don't read that into it, but the other thing is that I'm very used to this type of vocal. It's almost like hearing somebody growl for the first time versus the millionth time you hear the same type of metal growl. It just becomes the thing in the music, and I don't really feel anything special to the vocal production here. It's just this type of production, which I've heard too many times now. And maybe that's why I don't feel that way about it. Sounds like what AI images look like. Too much detail. Interesting. See, that's actually what I like about it. As I had mentioned, that many of the sounds, I feel like I could hear the waveforms themselves. It's very distinct and unique. I don't get this with most sounds that people use in music, but there's something about this that almost feels to hyper accentuate the peaks and valleys of waveforms in order to force them to not be heard as one uniform sound, but to hear the details themselves. It is bonkers, to say the least. And it's everything. There is almost no sound in here that goes untouched, and it creates something that feels very volatile. Like every sound in here is a powder keg waiting to go off. It just needs a spark. Every sound feels like it vibrates. There's so much life and movement to everything, not in a natural way, though, sort of like an artificial life. And I think that's what's most interesting to me about the production on this. I think that's why a couple of people have mentioned that this feels like AI. It feels exceptionally digital in a way that not all electronic music does. And I find that to be very peculiar as well. That powder cake description is spot on in terms of where he is mentally. Cool. Yeah, I mean, he does a great job at building into this then. But then, of course, there's the whole back half of the track where we explore wild guitar work, very emo, finger-picking math rock stuff, and some bonkers drum manipulation, messing with time and time feel. It has me intrigued. I don't know if this is an album that I would enjoy every moment of, but it's definitely something that's bridging a lot of ideas together and doing it all at a ridiculously high level, and that's not something I feel like I can ignore. As a music critic, I feel I have to seek out experiences like this, especially since I can't say that I've heard anything like it. But yeah, I mean, just to wrap all this up, I quite enjoyed that. I do feel like it dragged on just a little bit towards the beginning. I wish it had, I don't know, done something else. Maybe that's just a first time listen critique and makes sense once I get to know what the song is doing. But I do love where it went. So, yeah, I've got to listen to more of that. I've definitely not pulled by emo, but I can see how this is very well put together. We have a song from Tenpei Sato. It's called The End of Passionate Feeling. This comes from the soundtrack for the game Phantom Brave. Comment comes from Navronasis. Random hidden gem PS2 game has insane soundtrack. I'm ready for this. Phantom Brave is a game that I've vaguely been aware of. I'm pretty sure it's on my to-do list if I ever get around to playing any of these old PS2 RPGs. But I've never played it. I have no idea what it's about. I've never heard any music about it. And pretty much the artwork is all I know about it. What would be on the front of the game case. Still not going to get over the Midwest emo breakdown. Dude, it comes out of nowhere. And it works. Definitely worth a listen for the experience alone. Cool. Okay, that's honestly all I could ask for a first time listen on it. Alright, let's dive into this. See what's going on with The End of Passionate Feeling. I'm already on board with this. I love all the ornamentation, the flourish, everything going on in the backgrounds. Honestly, I think like video games from the early 2000s, probably the best. Just a lot of exploration and wacky stuff on every level. Art, music, mechanics. Yeah. I just feel like it was a lot more freeing, especially with budgets not having ballooned out of control yet. Yeah, dude, this is wonderful, though. A little bit of like a folksy village vibe, but I don't know, with flamenco thrown in a little bit. Yeah, I can definitely see some Zelda in here. It's got that fantasy vibe. But see, the thing is too, I think what does Koji Kondo do the Zelda soundtracks? What's constantly implemented in there is a sense of serenity and awe. There is usually danger, adventure, folksiness to the Zelda soundtracks, but there's always a levity to it too. It's never overbearing, and I think this captures that same vibe very well. The gotcha soundtracks. Oh man. Yeah, I enjoyed that. Oh, funny Castlevania soundtrack playlist being given to me. I started playing Lords of Shadow last week. So, not the I don't remember that then. The only one I remember is the very electronic one. That was like one of the most bonkers songs I've ever heard. So, I guess I got to check that Arknights one out again, because I do love a good soundtrack. But yeah, this is just very chill, very relaxed. Like I mentioned, it feels very much like a small village in a fantasy game, but it has an electricity to it, an energy to it. Like I said, I think there's a bit of flamenco in here too, particularly with some of the harmonic choices, but also the rhythmic choices. And when you mix all that with the tambourine and all of the flourishes, it feels very busy but small, much like an interconnected village where everybody has the job to do in order to ensure that the village operates at a high functionality. Basically, if you fail at your farming or whatever, you've affected the whole village now. So, kind of like clockwork, interconnected gears, but a small scope. All right, Johnny, have a good rest of your day. And that's what this feels like to me. It has energy, it has vibrance, but it's very chill, it's laid back, it's small, but it feels big. And I love how all of that just captures the feeling of a village very well. I'm curious where this fits in the game, though. Is this a village song? But is this something that deals with something else? Is it credits? It's called The End of Passionate Feeling, which is not a song I would title for a village track. But yeah, I don't know. Maybe Tenpei did. But I dig it. Short, sweet. I'm sure that's where the loop happens too. Definitely something that would get stuck in my head after listening to it on repeat over and over. Good stuff. All right. Another one that I'm just not going to have a good time pronouncing today. I'm not attempting it. I looked at it again. I told myself it was going to be tough. And then I'm looking at it again. I'm like, well, maybe past me didn't know what he was talking about. Nah, dude. I'm not going to get this one. Azathoth gave me a quote for context on this one. It says, never a man to stand still for a long time. Huro bids farewell to native tribe and travels through the high grass till he is at the gates of Tujuhuju. That's probably not how that's pronounced. The great mountain range full of snow-covered peaks and slippery slopes. Cocking his rifle, he roams the valley below the mountains, a dense jungle full of insects, giant snakes, and hairy spiders. The natives warn him that no one has ever returned from this place, but our brave explorer isn't so easily startled. There is something fascinating about that mountain. All right. The Welsh name stream. I don't know what we're going to call today yet. We've had more electronic music in one stream than I think ever before. But we've also had a lot of stuff I can't pronounce. I guess we'll see what the last half of today brings. Well, I guess there's only 4 tracks left, which I think's still going to put us over. Probably still going to run over the 2-hour mark. This is Finnish. Doesn't have enough P's and Y's to be Welsh. Alright, let's dive into this one. See what they're bringing to the table. Ooh. Ooh. Okay, what is this? Okay. What in the world? The melody is super catchy. Okay, okay. They're having fun. Dude, the grooves in all of this are just fantastic, and they come from the strings as well as the percussion. That's fun. Curious what their inspiration is. The closest analogy for me is metal. At least in intensity of rhythm. As far as my ears hear, yes. There's a string quintet and accordion, maybe? It's not oh man. The random breath. Always with the GIFs. Ah, geez, what in the world? Give you no sonic context, but I've always seen them lumped in with punk. I could see that, I suppose. I still think metal was my analogy, though. Where I find the parallels drawn harmonically and rhythmically, even texturally, I would say. I can hear some punk in there, but punk would never be my first place to interrogate that. So I don't really have much to add beyond what y'all have already said. The timbres here, the production of everything, aside from the composition, just the way that it sounds is gnarly and impressive. As far as I can tell, this is totally acoustic. Maybe no. Oh, maybe there's some extra grit added in production, but I'm not thinking any of these instruments are run through amplifiers of any sort for extra levels of distortion. And it creates something that feels very dark and grimy and antagonistic. And I think that's impressive for, like I mentioned, what I heard is an accordion, a string quintet, not a drum kit. Um, I'm not sure what kind of percussion I hear in here, but it's crust. I don't know what crust punk is. I've heard of it, but I'm not sure what it is. An anonymous gifter gave Azzy a tier 1 sub. That's awesome. I didn't know we had anybody gifting out subs here. Thank you so much, anonymous gifter. Kong punk in Swedish. That's cool. I can get behind that. It's just a gnarly sound overall, though. And to pair that with the constant eighth notes or 16th notes from both the strings and the drums, giving us this constant back and forth sound, almost as if we have the back and forth bass kick and snare in a metal track. I think all of that just comes together into something that adds to the aggression. We have this intensity from a rhythmic side of things. And then we get to the harmonic side. The melodies are catchy in a disgusting way. Everything feels very over the top, dark and brooding with energy, though. It isn't like doom metal where the brooding is held back by the tempo. This feels moody with momentum. And it's a very eclectic combination of sounds. It comes together into something that I've never heard before. This is quite unique. And I think that's about all I have to say on that one. I would definitely need to give it a couple more listens. I kind of wish that there were some words to this, maybe with throat singing to keep with the timbre connection with everything. But I mean, it works well at telling a story just with the instruments, even if I kind of wish that we had more melody at times. I think it leans on the atmosphere quite a bit on here, more than I would like, but I don't think in any way that detracts from the song. Moody with momentum. More of a D. I don't know what a D beat is. Fire sent it. Sometimes the brain comes up with good stuff. Other times I can't remember anything. I say the dumbest stuff. What was what I said earlier about putting your own footprint in the sands of time? Like, not everything I say is great. But sometimes it is. Let's see, we got some Mars Volta here. And if I recall correctly, this should wrap up the entire Cygnus album, right? If not, there's only like one more song on the album that I haven't heard then. I'm going to double check that. Have I never listened to The Widow? I thought I had listened to the whole album at one point. Nope. Yeah, okay, so this does wrap it up. This is the last one I need to hear. Now I guess I should just listen to it all at once. I don't know if that would make me appreciate it anymore, or if I would get any more of it narratively. But I do suppose I have done a disservice to the album by listening to all of the songs individually with gaps of time between them. That anonymous gifter did the right thing. I agree. I thought that was pretty cool. All right. Let's dive into this. Let's see if we have context on it. From Ramona, one of the more straightforward songs from them, very Floydy or Led Zeppelin-y, features Flea on trumpet. This was the first song I ever heard from them, The Hook. Was that the whole context? Oh, it's only 5 tracks? Why do I feel like I've listened to more than 5 tracks from them? Listening chronologically will help digest the story a bit more. I mean, yeah, that makes sense. But also, they the story. I was going to say the story hasn't really made sense to me, but maybe it's because I have listened to it out of order. Maybe that was my problem and not the delivery method, which is kind of what I've assumed this whole time. Unfairly assumed. Let me put that out there. All right, let's dive into this. The Mars Volta, The Widow.
He's got fast in black lungs, made of clove splintered shards.
Another 3? Dude, the 3 pulse has been strong today. The smoothness of the vocals with those guitar slides, so good. I knew Cassandra Gemini was long, but half an hour? And I reacted to that? Love that bass. That's a very large, almost distorted sound to it. Very, is a really nice flavor in here. If y'all had started me on this after Inerratic ESP, I wonder if my journey through TMV would have been totally different. Alright, psychedelic, bluesy with his emo, post-hardcore style vocal delivery. I mean, this right up. I don't know where they're going with this yet, but the first half of this song was right up my alley. And see, I think I need to get to more Mars Volta, just get outside of this album, which is quickly appearing to be their at least palatable. That's interesting. They seem like a band that people don't grow out of. I mean, there's plenty of stuff I can't listen to anymore. That's quite a description. I get it though. But the thing is, even on this album, I have found a lot of moments that I love. They are far and few between with things that I'm just not a big fan of though. And so I guess that whole section is designed to probably has some narrative impact, but also to transition us into the next track, as Ramono had mentioned. And Veiled Radiance. So I don't know if I should talk too much about that part in particular, since it feels more purposeful to the larger whole. But the song proper that has the core musical components to it, I enjoyed that. Very bluesy, very psychedelic, great bursts of energy. I love the moodiness of the verse, and then he'll like just belt out these notes that pulls us into these larger sections. The organ comes in under him, really elevates the whole part. It's very expressive. It's very full of emotion. It's a great track. And very straightforward for the Mars Volta. Between each song, there's noise that transports you into a place in Cygnus's travels. Interesting. Oh, because it's reading the diary or something, right? A journal? I don't remember. Y'all have explained it to me a couple of times, and it goes over my head every time. Each track is kind of a different confrontation until you reach the Cassandra completion. Or culmination. Okay. There's a song though, man. This song reminds me of a different track. Almost like one-to-one as far as chord progression, the way it grows, the feeling of it, the bearing of the soul. And I just can't think of what that song is. It's an older track though. Blues rock, definitely. Oh, am I thinking of a different thing then? I could have sworn one of their albums was about finding a diary in a car. Oh, okay. I'm glad I'm not misremembering that. Yeah, I mean, just like there's not much to say about this one, which is like the exact opposite of every Mars Volta reaction I think I've ever had, where I just talk on and on and on because there's so much that happens in them. And this one doesn't have that. I wonder if the simplicity ties to the story that's going on at all. The only thing that I think really adds any sort of grittiness or dirtiness to the song is the guitar solo underneath, I think it was the second chorus, just panning from left to right and then back to left and being rather noisy. A majority of it feeling like it was in key, but not all of it. And so it feels both like a traditional bluesy guitar, although sped up to faster 16th notes, more like a metal solo more so than a rock one. But also incorporating noisy or dissonant tones inside of it. It feels almost like a garbled mess. sometimes hearing things that make sense and other times not, like a radio station that's just barely coming in, mostly getting white noise and static. The craziest album backstory will always be Bedlam, being written by them in a Ouija board. Oh, man. I think I mentioned this when we checked out Goliath, was it? That I wonder how much of that Ouija story is just a story, something they made up. The Mars Volta, I don't know enough about them if they would do something like that, but it does feel quite a bit over the top. More so than I think most stories about how things come together end up feeling. So I've always kind of questioned the validity of that story since it's just so extreme. It's almost Hollywood. In fact, I would love to see them make a biopic about the creation of Bedlam. I think that would be interesting. 2 more to go. We're going to kick it off. We're going to dive into some Dinosaur Jr. with... Here's the crazy thing. Every single time I've seen this, I thought the song was called Slugfest, like getting into a brawl. But it's called Sludgefeast. I got both of the syllables wrong every time I've looked at it until right now. And I almost said Slugfest, even. I like that they fully commit. They do. They believe in their art and they go the full distance in order to do it the way they want to. There is no commitment issues at all with them and their art. The wiki page for Bedlam's quite informative. I'll have to check that out. All right, Sludgefeast. I don't like that. I think Slugfest, despite being an act of violence, feels better to hear than Sludgefeast. They should invent slug. Don't we already have slug metal? Unless they should invent sludge metal. In fact, I think it'd be pretty cool if they did with this album. I don't know how old this album is. 87. If they invented sludge metal with an album called Sludgefeast, I think that'd be pretty interesting. Comes from Tedesco, one of my favorite Dino Jr. songs, a band I don't think you've reacted to before. Now I'm curious. I don't have a full reaction, so maybe. Sludgefeast? Sludge. Yeah, I can get behind that. Alright, let's dive into this one, see what's going on. Sledgehammer? I like that. Another song that just has a very gnarly sound to it. Interesting tonality on the vocals. My ear tells me that the notes are out of tune, but my gut says it all sounds fine. Oh, there is a sludge. That's interesting. I'm glad they have a slug theme, though. I think that's the way to go with a name like that. Oh, that explosion of energy. 87. What it is. I'm glad you mentioned that there. I couldn't figure out why this was familiar-ish, but grunge. Yeah. What? What? So I think this is interesting. It has a little bit of what grunge would be. I personally heard a little bit of Nirvana, particularly in the whiny vocals versus the really large guitar, the really large gritty guitar work. Also, some of the harmonic ideas between the two of them. That's kind of where my grunge parallel ends, but it feels like that mixed with a little bit of heavy metal, particularly even more so in the back quarter of this track as we entered into this long heavy metal guitar solo that kind of came out of nowhere. But all of that mixed with a bit of punky indie rock leaning towards noise and kind of grittying up everything to another level. And to me, it feels very ahead of its time. 87's not what I would have guessed for this, but it does feel like it has both a foot in the future as well as a foot in the past. And it brings together, I think, two different eras of music. I'm not sure if this is how all of their discography works, but this song in particularly feels like this interesting crossover from the older styles of rock and metal into the attitude sound of rock and metal, the the 90s and the 2000s as we push forward into that, and bringing the sound more into the mainstream, kind of having this mainstream flavor of angst. And I find it to be a really interesting relic of a time that is very cool to see somebody in two realms like that. But I'm not sure how the ending fits in with everything else. I thought the first fade out was fine. And then we brought in a guitar solo to fade that out too. It's a choice. Not my favorite, and I don't really understand it, but I suppose it works. I saw a couple people talking about the vocals, but I kind of feel like this is what I expect. They're a little more distant than I would want, but aside from the tonality, it's kind of what I expect from grunge adjacent music. Neil Young might have been inspired by this for his Ragged Glory album. Interesting. They were huge at the time as Pixies. That makes sense. Especially given, like I said, some of the punkier, noisier parts of this. Yeah, that's an interesting moment in music. This one comes from Inky. Fusion of jazz and mugam, a modal and improvisational musical tradition from Azerbaijan. Azerbaijan? How do you pronounce that? Azerbaijan. Nope, that's probably not right either. It's a shame. We have Aziz Mustafa Zadeh with the track Dangerous Peace. I've been looking forward to this one just based off of that description. The modal improvisational part could be hit or miss for me, but I always like to see what people do with that. But the mixing of genres and of cultures, I think, is going to be quite interesting. So, we're going to wrap up today with this one. Let's dive in. The unpronounceable edition. Yeah, dude, you guys gave me so many non-English bands. I was really close. Excellent. I mean, I can already feel the jazziness in the rhythm, the groove. Even chordally. Ooh. Oh, that delayed accent. Oh, is that... We got scatting in here? It's a very light, breathy voice. Except for those high-pitched chirps would be the only way I could describe it. It's such an interesting physicality to the attack that the rest of the notes don't have. Oh, okay. Singing along with their own playing. Oh. So I was wondering how that was improvised, but if she's doing both, I think that's even more impressive than pre-composed. It's still impressive, but not as much. But improvising and singing along. Ooh, that walk down. And And this is all over 5 too, which is not an easy time signature to improv over. Drummer throwing in some interesting polyrhythms on that cymbal. Very funky rhythmically, harmonically, not really atmospherically though. I think the atmosphere is just comfortable. Does the drummer understand that he can play patterns? I feel like the drummer is playing linearly all the time. It's wild. That's the same walk up from the beginning. Dude, I'm gonna have to talk about her vocal accentuation. Yeah, I'm curious how much of this is improvised. I thought it was over. I mean, I guess there's still 10 seconds or so. I think she was throwing some double tonguing in there. I mean, that's just, geez, so impressive. Every bit of this. So with her vocals, they almost sound like they're pipes, where when the air goes through immediately, you get this sort of an immediate sting of volume, and it quickly tapers off into almost an airiness, and that's like a pipe organ thing. And I hear that same thing here. It's almost like she has all this pressure that crosses a threshold. You get that immediate burst, but then it simmers down to just the airstream itself. And a lot of, I mean, it goes by so quick too. It's tough to hear because she's singing so fast, but she has these really harsh articulations that quickly simmer down into like a light Ariana Grande style airiness. And it's just so impressive to hear this level of control on the vocals. And it creates this interesting flow too, because every note she hits, volume wise, dynamic wise, is an immediate peak followed by a drastic drop, and it makes her vocals sound like it's just constantly rising and falling action. But then you also have the rising and falling action of the notes and the general volume and crescendos and decrescendos that go with the melodic flow, and it's just so controlled. It is bonkers to think about doing this solo without anything else going on, but then she's also playing the keyboard and playing these same things with the same dynamics and the complexities of playing at this speed. it is just, yeah, phenomenal, impressive. I don't think these words do justice, but I don't have the vocabulary to praise this the way that I think it needs to. I'm honestly just shocked and blown away by it. But then everybody else just absolutely kills it too. The drummer, like I mentioned, I don't think that the drummer knows how to not play something linear. They're just constantly doing new things. It is bonkers. The bassist has an excellent tone and is constantly reevaluating what their place is within a song, and jumping between a bunch of different licks and riffs in order to follow along with what everyone else is doing, and it just feels highly organic in a wonderful way. Oh, Sforzando, yeah. Yeah, I didn't even think about it too much because there's so much else that goes into it. But yeah, Sforzando is hitting at a very high volume and then bringing that volume down pretty much immediately, usually with the crescendo to build back up into it, such as ba. Pretty typical Sforzando there. Yeah, loud to soft to loud. But it's that same idea of striking at a high volume and bringing it down immediately. And for her to do it so quickly, so often, so perfectly, while also hitting all these notes, it's mind-boggling. It really is. I don't know. Everybody killed it on this. I had a good time listening to it. I'm going to wrap this up because for some reason my internet is garbage right now. I did pretty good all day, and here I am dropping frames like crazy. So, that's going to be it for today. Thank you, all of you, for coming out on your Sunday and spending time with me, listening to music, and just, chilling. I'll be back next Sunday to do this again. Same time as usual, 11 a.m. We also have the reactions this week that are going to kick back off tomorrow at 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 10 p.m. UTC. I forget. I think we're at 10 p.m. I don't remember anymore. Anyways, 5 p.m. Eastern. Translate that into your time zone. So we're going to do whatever week again. I'm going to pick 5 more from the patrons list. And the week after will be album of the year, song of the year, whatever you want to call it. That thing will go up for the patrons tomorrow. You'll be able to put your favorite song from last year, and I guess that'll also be a random poll, because I don't think we'll have time to do a regular poll for that. So patrons, look out for that tomorrow. Also, I'm glad, Charm Tiger, that your first stream went well. Do your own research. Where'd that come in? Did I miss something? Anyways, y'all have a fantastic rest of your day. I'm going to enjoy mine. And I'll catch you next time.